Johnson. I'm the city manager for Richland Hills, and I've served this wonderful community for the past 5 years in that role. And so I just want to welcome you all to our third annual State of the City. And on behalf of the City of Richland Hills, I want to thank each of you for being here. Your involvement and engagement is essential to the success of our community. And tonight is all about keeping you informed and hearing what matters most to you. A key part of shaping our future is understanding your priorities. Tonight you'll hear about the progress we've made on the 2023 Citizen Survey, highlighting how your input has helped guide city initiatives and improvements. Now we need to hear your feedback again. There are cards on your table, and hopefully you've seen it advertised on social media and received the postcard in the mail, but we are seeking input on our 2025 Citizen Survey, and we would love for every resident to participate. The survey can be accessed on our city's website, pages, Everbridge, and our new community newsletter, which is being mailed to our households on a quarterly basis. So check your mailboxes because you should be receiving the winter issue sometime in the next few days. And then of course, I hope everybody received the QR code that was mailed to you on the little postcard. And for those of you that are here tonight, and if you haven't taken the survey, you don't have to wait because the QR code right there on your table will send you directly to that survey. And we would love to have your input because your voice, the voice of our residents, our businesses really does matter to us, and it's very important in shaping up the work we do to serve this community. We have a very exciting agenda planned for this evening. To start us off, Mayor Curtis Berthold will deliver the State of the City address, sharing updates on our city's financial position and progress towards community priorities. Our department directors will provide updates on key projects and initiatives that impact our community. And then after the presentations, we will break out into small group question and answer sessions where you can meet city leaders, ask questions, and get more details on the topics that matter most to you. And if you haven't done so already, I encourage you to visit the booths in the Link lobby, where our community partners are showcasing valuable resources and programs available to our residents. I just want to take a moment to thank all those community partners for coming and joining us this evening. We have our 75th anniversary committee. We have our serving our seniors, Forever Buddies. We have our police and fire academies. We have our public works team, our library team, and did I miss anybody? I hope not. I think that's everybody. So we really do appreciate their continued support throughout the year and partnering with us to make sure that we're really providing the best quality of life we can for all of our residents. Now, before we get started with the Mayor's State of the City address, we do have a fun, interactive activity to kick things off. We're going to start with a word bubble activity. Has everybody done those before? Yeah. No? Okay. So you're going to need your cell phone. So if you have your cell phone, you'll want to get that out and get ready to take a picture, because we are going to turn the screen to the next page, and it's going to ask you a question. And that question is, what is one word that describes your vision for Richland Hills? So if you can put your camera on that QR code at the top, hopefully it will open up that page and you can provide an answer.
I'll give you answers.
Is it working? Okay, I'm getting thumbs up, so I'm getting confirmation that it is working. Okay, yes, we can start seeing some of your responses live here on our screen.
Pen in here? No.
these responses are wonderful, and as you can see, some of our top responses with multiple participants contributing: community, peaceful, hometown, progressive, friendly, family, improvement, growth. I think those are all wonderful attributes that represent our community now and into the future. And I love doing these exercises and things like our citizen survey because we really do value what you have to say here. And we keep this in mind when we discuss future plans and programs for our community, because we want to make sure that we are creating the Richland Hills that you expect, the quality of life that you deserve, and the future that you want for you and your family. So this is all very important, and I appreciate your input. So once again, I thank you for being here this evening and your role in helping us shape Richland Hills every day. And with that, I'm going to invite our esteemed mayor, Curtis Burkle, up to the podium to tell you a little bit more about our financial position and our community priorities.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm just glad to be here tonight. Glad you all made it out tonight. And the word community, that is a vision too. It's a vision to bring this city together as much as we can and make good judgment about how to lead the city and how to best provide what you all need. So anyway, I'm Curtis Burkle. I've been your mayor for a little over half a year now, so we've got 2.5 years left. See what we can get done here. I'm honored to serve as your mayor as well. City involvement is essential to building a strong and thriving community, and I truly appreciate you taking the time to be here tonight. Your engagement helps shape the future of our city, and I'm excited to share the great things happening in Richland Hills. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to recognize my fellow council members. Mayor Pro Tem Doug Knowlton, there he is. Councilmember Travis Malone, Councilmember Teresa Bledsoe, Councilmember John Steele, Councilmember G.W. Eastet, Councilmember Roland Gobius. I also want to acknowledge our city leadership team who are here tonight to highlight some of our recent accomplishments and answer any questions you may have. And also I want to recognize District Director for Representative David Lowe, James Trim made it here tonight. So if you all have anything for the state representative, be sure you hit him up later. So I'm sure there's a lot. Anyway. Richland Hills is in a strong financial position. Thanks to steady revenue growth, we've been able to invest in critical services while maintaining financial stability. Over the past decade, Richland Hills has experienced significant growth in both property and sales tax revenue, driven by rising property values and an expanding commercial tax base. Our total revenue has increased by an impressive 124% since fiscal year 2015. That's awesome. Anyway, this financial strength allows us to continue improving infrastructure, enhancing public safety, and providing quality services our community expects and deserves. Next is our property tax. The revenue remains a vital funding source for the city. Last year, property values increased by 8.36%, driving combined continued revenue growth. As a result, property tax revenue totaled $4.66 million for fiscal year 2024. Sales tax is a vital revenue source, directly reflecting the strength of our local economy. Over the past 10 years, we've seen significant growth in sales tax revenue, allowing us to fund essential services and invest in critical infrastructure needs. In fiscal year 2024, sales tax revenue totaled $10.47 million, making it the largest revenue source for the city. This continued growth highlights the success of our business community and economic development efforts, ensuring a strong financial foundation for Richland Hills. A lot of cities would love to have that kind of thing like we have with the sales tax. Most cities rely on property tax, and it's good here. So Next is sales tax by segment. Breaking down sales tax revenue by segment allows us to see which industries are driving growth. Our largest contributor is wholesale trade, representing 56% of sales tax collections. That's a lot. Richland Hills remains financially stable with strong reserve balances across all city funds. While we've experienced steady growth in both property and sales tax revenue over the past several years, that growth is starting to slow. This means that we must be strategic with our funds and carefully plan for future needs. Additionally, our reliance on sales tax contributions from our top 10 companies represent a potential challenge. Any significant change in one of these businesses could impact our city revenues. At the end of the day, financial stewardship remains our top priority. We'll continue to focus on our investments for infrastructure, public safety, and quality of life improvements, ensuring long-term sustainability for our community. Now I'd like to shift our focus to the community priorities. Citizen feedback plays a crucial role in shaping our budget and priorities. Through community engagement efforts, including the 2023 Citizen Survey, we've been able to better align city initiatives with the needs and expectations of our residents. Tonight's breakout Q&A sessions present another opportunity for you to ask questions, share feedback, and continue shaping the future of our community together. And on that, if you don't know how to do a QR code, ask one of our staff here. They'll be happy to show you how that works, because it's real helpful, and you also get your notices too when we have the freeze warnings or just whatever things or weather alerts too. So on the Citizen Survey, based on the results of the 2023 Citizen Survey, this slide highlights the top 20 issues ranked by importance to our citizens. You'll notice that some areas are highlighted in yellow. These are called gap areas. These represent issues that residents ranked as highly important, but where performance was rated lower. The gap areas included maintaining and improving streets, curbs, and sidewalks, maintaining and improving water and wastewater infrastructure, upgrading drainage infrastructure, attracting new retail and restaurant businesses, managing code inquiries and violations. Over the past 2 years, we've worked diligently to improve these areas, and we'll discuss our progress in more detail on the next slides. It's a lot of information up there. Will this be available online for people to be able to, so all of these PowerPoint slides, you'll be able to go to the city's website and see all this. Street improvements. Well-maintained streets are a top priority for Richland Hills as they directly impact safety, mobility, and economic development. To support ongoing improvements, the city began collecting sales tax for the dedicated street improvement sales tax fund in July 2019. Since then, we've completed 13 street reconstruction projects, representing a total investment of $5.3 million. In September 2023, the city issued $9 million in funding to complete 6 additional street reconstruction projects. These projects are expected to be awarded in April, with construction beginning shortly after. Additionally, Glenview Drive was included in the recent Tarrant County Transportation Bond Program, with the county contributing $5.8 million toward the improvements. To enhance pedestrian safety, Richland Hills has submitted applications to both the Council of Governments and TxDOT Safe Routes to School program to fund sidewalk improvements leading to Cheney Hills Elementary School. Infrastructure improvements. Investing in our water, wastewater, and drainage infrastructure is critical to ensure long-term reliability and sustainability. To improve accuracy and maintenance costs, the city has replaced over 3,100 water meters with state-of-the-art ultrasonic meters. These new meters also feature a customer portal, allowing residents to monitor their water usage in real time. And if you didn't notice, I got a leak alert on mine because I'm dripping my faucet. So anyway, it should show up for you. To further strengthen our water system, the city has launched a comprehensive water tank maintenance program. Over the next 10 years, all water tanks will be cleaned, refurbished, and repainted to maintain the system's integrity and efficiency. And it's also going to have the new brands on them too, so they look a lot better, but if you don't maintain systems, they start rusting, and they'll just start breaking down, so that's one of the things we're doing. In addition, we've enhanced system resilience by adding auxiliary power to all the well sites, ensuring continued operation during outages. This critical upgrade was funded through a $1.5 million grant from the American Rescue Plan Act, also known as ARPA. Over the last 2 years, Public Works teams have also completed approximately 15,500 linear feet of water and wastewater line replacements, further reinforcing our city's infrastructure and service reliability. Over the past 2 years, the city has invested approximately $1 million in drainage and stormwater improvements. These investments are enhancing water management, mitigating flood risk, and protecting properties. New business. Richland Hills continues to be an attractive destination for businesses thanks to our business-friendly policies and strategic location. Over the past 2 years, 70 businesses have received certificates of occupancy demonstrating strong economic activity in our community. Notably, 21% were new restaurant and retail businesses. Some of the new retail and restaurant additions include the Cake Supply Store, Liquor Dugout, Roots Cafe, and Paneriquitos Cafe. Tried to say it the right way. Next one is code compliance. A well-maintained community enhances property values, promotes safety, and improves quality of life for all residents. To strengthen these efforts, the city combined animal services and code compliance to create the new Community Compliance Division. This division is staffed by 5 team members with the goal of certifying officers in both animal control and code enforcement, allowing for a more streamlined and effective approach. In the first quarter of this year, October to January, the division made 448 community contacts and issued 444 violations. That's a 37% increase over the same period last year. 5 abatements were completed, including 3 for excessive accumulations. Voluntary compliance increased by 51%, reflecting strong community cooperation. It says a lot about the pride of people around the town and taking care of their properties. And the city's not trying to get in everyone's business, but they also want to keep the city looking well for all of us. In closing, as you can see, the city's carefully evaluated the results of the citizen survey and made significant progress in addressing key gap areas. City leadership remains committed to prioritizing these areas through strategic planning and the budget process, ensuring that we continue meeting the needs of our residents. As mentioned earlier, the 2025 survey is live now. We encourage you to take a moment to complete the survey and share your feedback. Your input is invaluable in shaping the future of Richland Hills. So let us know what matters most to you. If y'all have anything to talk to me about later, I'll be around the room, and I've got my business card to me. You can call me anytime. So thank you all for coming out tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor Berthold. And I think we can all agree that the community is definitely headed in the right direction, trying to make sure that we are addressing all of the areas and initiatives that are most important to our residents. So now we're going to dive a little bit deeper into some of those strategic priorities. Our department directors are going to come forward and update you on public safety, infrastructure projects, economic development activities, and our community engagement and programs. So we're going to start things off with our public safety team. So Chief Kimberly Sylvester and Chief Russell Shelley will come forward. We will move into that portion of the presentation.
Is everybody here? Is everybody taking the survey?
Good evening, everyone. Let's go the right way there. All right, I'm going to share just briefly with you a little bit about what's going on in the fire department over the last year and some initiatives that we're going to be working on into the future. Starting off with some statistics from 2024, the fire department answered just under 1,700 total emergencies in 2024. You can see the breakdown here. Roughly 2/3 of our responses were medical in nature, with service calls, good intent calls, false alarms making up another large portion of those responses. A big transition that we began in the first quarter of 2025 was our EMS transport transition. As of November 1st, the city began contracting with MedStar Mobile Healthcare to provide ambulance transport. There are several bullet points here of information about that. We began working with MedStar on a part-time basis in 2022. And as I said, we escalated that to full-time use in November of 2024. MedStar's response times have been consistently in the 9 to 11 minute range, where fire department first response is generally in the 4 to 5 minute range. That allows us enough time to get on scene, to begin assessing the patient, and within just a few moments after that, the ambulance is arriving to take the patient to the hospital. Our ambulance call volume is roughly 1,200 incidents a year, and about 3/4 of those we transport to the hospital. And again, close to 3/4 of those go right here local to Medical City North Hills, which is just a few blocks out of the city. And it's also very important to me to point out that our high priority life-threatening emergencies only throughout the year make up about 10 to 15% of our emergency responses for medical calls. So when seconds count, we are there for you within that 4 to 5 minute range. As a new initiative with our transition to MedStar, we have transitioned one of our full-time staff members into a community paramedic position. Lene Nolan in the back of the room will be available for questions tonight if you would like to talk more about this program. She's very excited about getting it off the ground, but she will serve as our representative with MedStar and with Fort Worth EMS later this year, looking out for the interest of Richland Hills within the ambulance transport community. She'll be managing all of our EMS training in the fire department for our paramedics. Supplies, equipment. We're also excited about being able to partner with the mental health officers in the police department to make sure those in the community that need those services get what they need. We also have several outreach programs that she will be working on. We also now have a full-time fire inspector whose primary duty is to make sure that we inspect every commercial occupancy in the city every year. We've had great success in the first quarter of the year with this, and we're excited to see where the program goes as we move forward. Brian Brindley is serving in that capacity for us, and he's doing a great job thus far. Some of our community outreach programs, there's information on the website about these programs. Vial of Life, one of probably the most popular programs we have is the medication disposal program. In the lobby of both the police station and the fire station, there is a box mounted on the wall where there are postage paid shipping envelopes. If you have expired medications or medications left over from an illness that you didn't use, you can stop by and pick up one of those envelopes, put it in there and seal it, drop it in any mailbox, and it's mailed off to a service in East Texas that takes care of disposing of those properly so that they don't end up in the landfill or in the water supply. The fire department offers smoke detector installation for those in the community that may not have those. Home fire inspections as well. We are getting ready 2 weeks from tonight to kick off our 7th annual Citizens Fire Academy. We're still taking applications for that. If you have an interest in going through the program, there are several in the room tonight that have been through that program that can tell you all about it. We also, in partnership with the police department, conducted our first public safety kids camp last June, and we're excited about the next one coming up first week of June this year. You may have seen our public safety honor guard that was started last year out and about at the grand opening of the Animal Services Center and also at the Veterans Day Memorial Service. So lots of outreach opportunities and programs going on. Just a few pictures there from the Animal Services Center grand opening, our car seat technicians, and then someone trying out the adventure of fire protective gear at Citizens Fire Academy last year. Some goals for the coming year is the best practices program through the Texas Fire Chiefs Association. We received notice a couple of weeks ago that we're ready to go through the regrade process with ISO, which has to do with our insurance rates. We were successful in 2020 in lowering our ISO to a 2 from a 4, and we're excited to take a shot at trying to get that down to the best score possible, being a Class 1 fire department. We're focusing heavily on staff development and encouraging employees to pursue formal education. We have several that are in college right now, and then continuing to adapt our community outreach programs to meet the needs of Richland Hills. My information there. I'll be around after the presentations to answer any questions, and thank you for your time.
Good evening, Richland Hills community. My name is Kim Sylvester, and I serve as your police chief for the last 7 years next month and 8 years with the city in 2025. As Chief Shelley, I'm going to go through some of our performance measures of the police department for 2024 with you. In those performance measures that we put together every year, we like to do a 5-year comparison on where we've been over the last 5 years relative to total calls for service, arrest, citation violations, citation warnings, and many other categories that are not all listed tonight. We have a very lengthy year in review regarding crime and our community outreach and all the things that we're doing, but I only have about 5 minutes to do this tonight, so I tried to pare this down. So if you look up here on the screen, you can see the numbers reflected for 2024, and those numbers reflected at the end of the year from 2023 to 2024 is that we had a 15% increase in violations issued. The patrol division does a great job. We also had started a traffic unit the end of 2023. And we had a 28.9% increase in warnings, and then of the 695 arrests, I'd just like to point this out, that only 21.5% of those are Richland Hills residents. So because we are where we're situated in the Metroplex, we have a lot of major thoroughfares that make crimes of opportunity and such, easy access into the community sometimes with the highways. And so what we find and what we've started breaking down is how many of those arrests actually are Richland Hills residents, and as you can see, it's a small percentage. So our historical crime data that we capture is called from the Uniform Crime Reporting that we have to send to the FBI every year, and these are the categories of what they consider Part 1 crimes. And so when we break down all of those Part 1 crimes that we report to them, from 2023 to 2024, there was a 15% overall decrease in those Part 1 crime offenses. Now, these are obviously not all of the offenses that we respond to and that we handle, but this is what's considered the Part 1 crimes. There was a 45% decrease in all burglaries, and the burglaries are broken down between burglary of a building and burglary of a habitation. So we dropped pretty significantly in the efforts that we try to do in crime prevention areas regarding those type of crimes, and saw that decrease and a 7% decrease in theft. The two categories that really caused that overall decrease to not be more was our auto theft. You can see that there was a significant spike from 20 in 2023 to 45 in 2024, so 125% increase in burglary of motor vehicle. The auto theft, we can say that there was a ring, if you will, or a few individuals that we have since identified and arrested that were causing a significant amount of those auto thefts that go with those numbers. And so, in burglary of motor vehicle, I just will reiterate, please lock your cars at night and secure your valuables, because most of the burglary of motor vehicle reports that patrol takes, the vehicles are unlocked, and there are laptops and money and guns and all kinds of things left that make it very motivating for the criminals to break into those vehicles. So please do us a favor and in yourself and lock those vehicles. Talking about the shared services programs, I recognize many here tonight, but I just kind of want to hit on this, that know that back in it's been 12 years, so 2012, the cities of Richland Hills, North Richland Hills, Watauga, and Haltom City joined in a shared services program. I see Mayor Lopez back there smiling. So they went together and joined in to have one detention facility and one communication dispatch center. And we have been operating, this will be our 13th year under those two programs. The center and for detention and communications are both held at North Richland Hills, just right there off Glenview is the way that we go into it. But it's been a great program for us and how we have consolidated and shared and came together in those services. So the other services that we offer where we collaborate for programming is our joint crime victim assistance program. So these are the ladies that help our victims of crime and violent crime. There's 3 positions there, and again, it's the 4 cities that come together and share those resources. We also have a crisis support team between Richland Hills, Haltom City, and Watauga, and that is an individual that comes and helps those in our community, as Chief Shelley talked about, that have mental health needs. And so she is available, and she goes out and conducts follow-ups with one of our mental health officers for those community members. We also have a combined SWAT team with Haltom City. Some of our community outreach programs is our Capture. That is the program where citizens, we encourage you to register with Capture. All of your, if you have Ring or Arlo or any type of cameras on your home, you can register it with us. That way, if something happens in the community where you live, we know where we can go to possibly get video footage of the crime that had been committed. We have, as he talked about, the medication disposal program. We have Neighborhood Crime Watch. Texas Night Out is one of our largest programs. That is the first Tuesday of October of every year. It's where the community hosts block parties, bring your neighbors together. We come out and visit and talk about the things that are going on in your community, in your particular neighborhood, and what we can do to help. We host Carnival with Cops, Citizens Police Academy. If you look on your tables, we also have the flyers. The Citizens Police Academy will start up again in September, so that is open for registration. It's a great program, much like the Citizens Fire Academy. You come in, you do a lot of fun things. The team does a phenomenal job in making it very interactive and fun. I know we've got our Alumni Association out here has a booth, and they can certainly answer more questions about that program. Public Safety Kids Camp, as Chief Shelley talked about, will be kicking off in June. There's brochures with QR codes to sign your kids up for that. The Honor Guard, as he spoke about, this Saturday, also on your table, or at least some of the tables, there's Coffee with Cops, where we partner with McDonald's and ask the community to come out and have a cup of coffee with us and talk about, again, all the things that we can do to help you and what's going on in your neighborhoods. We also do Heroes and Helpers at Christmas time, where we go and shop and buy gifts for those in the community that need our assistance. Some of the accomplishments, I'm not going to go through all of them in the interest of time. And the way that we broke it down is, as we're talking about the citizen survey from 2023, City Council also did a workshop and defined strategic goals for the city, and so the departments kind of have a roadmap, if you will, of the areas that the city manager and the mayor spoke about. And so one of those goals would be quality workforce.
Training is a big part of what we focus on in the police department so that we can provide all of our citizens with the best levels of service that we can in all of the areas. So you can see up here, we invest in our people and the training from advanced law enforcement rapid response training, which is very important for active shooters. Sergeant Atterbury went to the conference, came back and trained all of the staff in alert. Detective Tenson, again, basic SWAT. And then Sergeant Pratt attended the ballistic shield trainer and came back and conducted shield training with all of our personnel. Service excellence, obviously, very important goal. We implemented some scheduling software. Mary Witt is here. She got the Forever Buddy 501c3 started to support our animal shelter, which is very important. We purchased new gear and some other technology that really helps our team out. We continually meet with our partner cities that I talk about in here and collaborate in all aspects. In addition to BISD and that partnership where we have our school resource officers, and we partner with BISD in that program so that for Richland Hills, just so everybody knows, we have a sworn police officer in every one of our schools, which is very important to BISD. Again, city manager spoke about the creation of our community compliance unit, and they have done a great job in the formation of bringing those two individual units together in the creation of one. Our community engagement, again, I've already talked about CPA coming up, and the Junior Police Academy. We had our animal shelter renovation grand opening out there. It looks great. I know our staff is very appreciative of council approving that money for those renovation and upgrades. And again, just to highlight our accomplishments, the 15% decrease in crime, our traffic violations, this criminal investigations team, I want to mention them. They did a great job on an overdose case from fentanyl, and they were able to get a warrant for and arrest the distributor of the individual that sold to the person that died from overdose. So they do a phenomenal job. We implemented a new solicitor software and program in the city for solicitors that come in. Lots of properties returned back to owners and destruction of property, and we also revised our on-street parking ordinance. I have many staff members here tonight, and myself will be around for questions.
Thank you, Chief Sylvester. And many of you may not know that Chief Sylvester does serve in a dual role for our community because she is also our assistant city manager. So on top of her chief of police duties, she does work with several other departments and has several other areas under her purview. So she wears many hats. Now we're going to hear from our Director of Public Works and Capital Projects, Kip Durnovich, on some of our infrastructure.
Well, good evening, Richland Hills residents, Mayor and Council, City Manager Edvinson, guests, and other city staff. My name is Kip Durnovich, and I serve in the Public Works Department. This evening, we're going to cover a few different items. We'll go over some of the accomplishments in fiscal year 24, the areas of water, wastewater, streets, and drainage. We'll also briefly cover the capital projects life cycle. And then we will also cover some of the capital projects that we have completed, as well as some future projects that we're looking forward to completing in the future. We'll start off here with the statistical information from the water area. The city was able to maintain our superior public water system status. We've also began a citywide water tank maintenance plan. That particular plan is over a 10-year period from fiscal year 2024 to fiscal year 2023. At a total cost of $1.83 million. We had water line repairs, a total of 12 in fiscal year 24, 175 meter leak repairs, 46 after-hour calls, which are from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 a.m., and about 134 other water calls, things like pressure, odor, etc. In the area of wastewater, approximately 11,500 feet of sewer line that were cleaned out, 5 sewer line repairs, 12 home sewer line backup cleanouts, and we completed our annual lift station maintenance as well. In the area of drainage, we completed the drainage channel repair behind the Baptist Church off of Baker Boulevard, built a new head wall, improved the channel there to move the conveyance of stormwater. We did our annual twice-a-year vegetation maintenance on drainage channels throughout the city. That would include the areas around Callaway Creek and Big Fossil as well. Should be getting out to that again for the, I guess the second time this fiscal year. Once the rains stop in March, kind of let some things die down a little bit and get that taken care of. We did complete our Big Fossil levee inspection through the Army Corps of Engineers. Many of you know that that is the western border of the city. So we have a 5-year term where every year we come out and get an inspection from the Army Corps of Engineers. Also then have the 5-year annual. We've passed on all of those. And we also have completed our mosquito abatement as required throughout the year. Under the area of streets, we have recently completed the construction on Phase 2 of Magnolia Park. That work has been completed really about in the last couple of weeks. We're in the final walkthrough, which is scheduled on February 25th. Over the last year, we've completed 877 pothole repairs, changed out 126 street signs, completed numerous crosswalk restriping throughout the city, and 2 citywide street sweeping activities. So those are just a few of the items that in Public Works we work on, making sure that we're proactive. Want, of course, all of you to know that we do appreciate the feedback that you provide through the survey. So make sure that you do fill that out if you haven't yet. I also want you to know that your voices are heard and we're working on those particular tasks that you brought to our attention. When it comes to capital projects in the life cycle, this is just a very brief overview. Of course, there's ebb and flow in any particular capital project. It would be great if everything just went A to B to completion. Unfortunately, that's usually not the case. There's a few things that always seem to pop up, but just the traditional ones are here. You start off with some pre-planning, maybe 3 months to 1 year of overall time where you're going to research and analyze the scope of the particular project. Think about what the cost might be. You'll start going through the budgeting process of setting those funds aside. The next step is moving through into the design phase, which can take anywhere from about 8 months to 1 year. That's where you would get a professional engineering firm to design the project, whether it's water, wastewater, all the particular scopes, the grades of things that might be necessary. Also allows for the subsurface utility engineering. You may hear the term SUE over the next year. That's going to be things like reworking gas lines, moving them around, depending upon what the project might involve. And then you would move into the construction phase, which can be anywhere from about 1 year to 14 months. That's where the contract would be awarded to a bidder. Once it's gone through the bid phase, it's awarded to a contractor. From there, you then would begin and go through all of the construction aspect, complete it, whether it's water, wastewater, or a streets project. Then have your final walkthrough. The city accepts the infrastructure, and then you go through what's called the bond maintenance phase. And most of our projects will have a 2-year bond that's established. If anything goes wrong, you can go back and then get that corrected. So I know that's a relatively fast go through. Traditionally, you would find that the design portion would take about 1 year, and then after that year is completed, you would go through. And so just a brief example of that is with what's our 6 streets projects that we're rapidly moving forward to going into the construction phase. The certificates of obligation were issued back in fiscal year 23. The design was completed then in December of 24. The project went out to bid just recently in February of 25. While that was going on, Atmos was doing some of the SUE work, or again, the subsurface utility engineering of relocating some of their gas lines. Those will cross and be completed. The project is anticipated to be awarded in March of 25. Construction will then begin, as are anticipated to begin in May of 25, and then you're looking about May of 26 for completion of the construction and to go into the bond maintenance phase. So just kind of, again, a brief overview of the capital project's life cycle. Next, we'll move into some of the past and then the future capital projects. You can see some of the pictures over on the right-hand side. Each of the specific areas, so with backup power at the water tanks, you can see that in the upper left, and that's from Senate Bill 3. That provides backup power for whatever reason in a freeze or a hard area where the power was to go down. Wastewater on Dogwood Park, we had a sewer upgrade, which was a community development block grant or a CDBG project that was an assistance through the Tarrant County. It's about $400,000. We have a couple of areas you can see with the Latham drainage channel. That's sort of in the middle on the left. And then a drainage railing upgrade more towards the upper right. In the section of streets, in a municipal kind of joint projects, if you will, we have Norton from Richland to Evergreen, Evergreen to Glenview. This is also, sorry about the last 2.5 years. That's where the Tarrant County provides the labor and the equipment. The city provides the resources. Then we've got about $200,000 approximately of curb and gutter replacement citywide. Handley Etterville was restriped. Baker Boulevard, the illuminated street signs, you can see right there kind of in the lower middle, if you will. That has been a long project, but we're rapidly approaching to the end. All of the hanging signs are now examples there, the Ash Park and Vance. We also have some that are going to be mounted onto the signals themselves. All are up. We're just waiting for on the mounted signs some backup power to make sure that it's there. And then on the hanging signs, we're anticipating the end of February, early March. Those will more than likely be illuminated and come on similar to the street lights. So when the street lights come on, those should light up as well. Then we have some upgrade public works yard fencing. That's in the middle. Thank you to the council for providing that. We appreciate it greatly. And the areas of capital projects, water, wastewater, and streets all being included together. Dover Lane, Scruggs to Vance, Bruce Snow, Baker Boulevard to Park Place, Magnolia Park, Scruggs to Mimosa, Mimosa to Rosebud. That's all phase 1 and phase 2 for an approximate total investment of about $8.5 million. Last but not least are some future capital projects. As I just mentioned, the 6th Street design and construction. It's about $5 million to $9 million. You can see that from, it's a little bit of an outdated spreadsheet. Some areas that are highlighted in yellow that actually Dover has been completed. Magnolia Park as well. The next 5 are going to be the Jameson, Joanne, Norton, Mary Boaz, and Brooks. It's technically 6 streets, 2 sections in Mary Boaz. And then Oxley there. You can see some of the other areas underneath that. That is kind of the overall project that's anticipated. We also have then Mimosa Park from Magnolia Park to 121 Access. That is another community development block grant that's replacing a water line. That would be in conjunction with Tarrant County, about $300,000. The Glenview Drive Corridor Project, anywhere from $5 million to $14 million. That's currently being discussed throughout the community. The Big Fossil Creek revitalization, again, that's the Army Corps of Engineers. We have a little bit of erosion from the water that's going through, anticipating somewhere around $300,000 to put some riprap, which is basically just a bunch of rocks to kind of help the soil not to degrade anymore. And then just recently we were able to purchase, we right now are looking for another one. We have one, which is kind of a sand and ice that we're able to use on the spreader to proactively go out ahead of time. So this last freeze here that's coming through, while very limited precipitation, we were able to get out ahead of that and throw some salt down to help out with traction and control from that. So with that, this is your Public Works Department. Myself and our office administrator, as well as our superintendent is here this evening. We'll be available in the back after everything is completed for any questions that you might have, and appreciate your support. I appreciate your patience and your kindness in dealing with us. We're doing our best to make sure that we get to what we need to, and we'll let you know that we hear you, and we'll do our best to make sure that we can make you proud. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Kip. That team stays busy all the time, with infrastructure being probably the top 3 priorities in our community, as evidenced on our citizen survey. They do a lot of work, and there's a lot of planning and execution that's going into making sure that we improve and address all of those areas. So now I'm going to invite our Director of Planning and Development Services, JP Duque, to come forward and talk about all of the great economic development activities we have going on.
evening, everyone. My name is JP Duque. I'm the Director of Planning and Development Services. For those of you who do not know me, I've been with the city for a little over a year now. It's been an incredible first year. I've learned quite a bit about this city, met some exceptional members of the community along the way. And I'm really looking forward to the years to come and accomplishing some of these goals that we're talking about here tonight. So although I'm supposed to be giving a presentation on economic development, it wouldn't be right if I didn't first touch on all of the permitting data of last year. At the Development Service Department, one of the primary things we are doing on a daily basis is processing permits. So I thought it'd be interesting to share the data of all the permits we processed last year. Starting from the top, you can see we processed roughly 195 mechanical, electrical, and plumbing permits, 41 new builds, 217 either building or remodel permits, 12 accessory structures, 31 driveways, 89 fences, 14 signs, 178 right-of-ways, 44 certificate of occupancies, which means 44 new businesses throughout the community just last year, and then 20 zoning cases. And there are other permits that we process that ran out of space, and they're not as popular as some of these. As for some of the economic development and ongoing development throughout the city, from a residential perspective, we've got Baker Landing, which is a high-density, single-family residential development. They originally proposed 69 single-family residential lots, and as of today, all 69 of those lots have been constructed. All of them have been sold, and all of them have been occupied, with the exception of the 2 model homes that are within the community. I have spoken with the developer, and it sounds like those 2 model homes will at some point be retrofitted and sold as well. And I mention that because throughout the development process, I noticed that as soon as these units would hit the market, they would sell. And then immediately after construction finished and we would issue a certificate of occupancy, the new residents were in those units the next day. And so there was clearly a demand for a new or different type of housing product in the city. And it's really great to see that the success that the builder has had with these units when we're looking at 100% occupancy shortly after all of these units were constructed. As of today, the city is working with the developer on maintenance responsibilities to ensure that any site deficiencies that are currently still out there are going to be addressed before final acceptance, and the city is able to kind of walk away and stop, being a little overbearing about some of the development-related items with the developer. The next item, similar to Baker Landing, is Richland Crossing. Rather than 69 units, this was proposing 52. Of the 52, we have received 50 permits that have been reviewed and approved. And of the 50 approved permits, we currently see 16 homes under construction today. And as you can see by the picture at the top of your screen, some of which are already sold as well. At the bottom of the screen, I provided some of the kind of facade or architectural design options that you might see at Richland Crossing once they start nearing completion. Those are just 3 options, and there are multiple other ones, but those are just a few different architectural options that they're providing over at Richland Crossing. Next is Baker Square. So this is the most recent residential development that has come through the city. It was approved in August of last year. And like the other ones, it's a single-family, high-density residential development. This one in particular is proposing 53 lots for 53 new single-family homes. As of today, or as I mentioned, it was approved last year, but as of today, the group who proposed this request and got it through the approval process are currently trying to work with a builder to purchase the property and eventually begin developing. The 3 different developments that I just talked about, this is all 3 of them from an aerial perspective. And I added this because obviously the proximity of all 3 of them, they are within, a couple blocks of each other, and that means within a couple years, if all of them are built out as proposed, we'll see roughly 170 plus new rooftops just within that space alone. Now, as for new development from a commercial perspective and new businesses, not just new development throughout the city, Boulevard 26 has a pretty active 2024. First, we got the Feel Great Car Wash, addressed at 1724 Boulevard 26. Construction is underway, specifically some plumbing and electrical work. We have received a project timeline and it appears completion is nearing roughly August of this year. Directly next door to the car wash is Roots Cafe. This is a new restaurant in the city that actually catered tonight's wonderful meal. They're addressed at 7012 Boulevard 26, and they opened at the end of last year. And I wanted to note and include a picture of Roots Cafe at the top of this presentation, where you can see the site has undergone multiple improvements prior to Roots Cafe occupying this building. And that was a priority of city staff and something that we're really focusing on moving forward, that before new tenants move into some of these older sites, we want to bring those sites into complete compliance so we can clean up some of our corridors, and it will act as a form of attracting new businesses to the community as well. And then a little bit further down Boulevard 26, we've also had a new packaged liquor store called the Liquor Dugout, which opened in August of 2004 and did receive SUP approval for that. Some continued economic development efforts, so things that aren't necessarily taking place right now, but we are working towards, would be based on the 2023 Citizen Survey, which really prioritized attracting new retail and new restaurants, and this was really considered as a top priority among residents when they took that survey in 2023. And staff currently is kind of approaching this with a three-step approach. First, we need to identify what the premier properties are throughout the community that would attract these types of users. And I believe that we have identified at least 5 sites that are premier options for both retail and new restaurants in the community. Some of the items that we looked at when we were trying to narrow down this list of premier properties was obviously location, if it had frontage off the primary corridor, proximity to other businesses. You can see the example there with the out parcel lot right next to Walmart. The general size of the property, can it accommodate a new restaurant with a drive-through possibly? These are all items that were taken into consideration when we narrowed down that list. And we are focusing on 5 pieces of property currently. You can't just focus on 5 pieces of property though, you also have to coordinate with the ownership or the representatives of that property to make sure that they are interested in allowing for development to take place on that property, whether it's by lease or whether it's by selling the property to a potential developer. And so staff has really made it a priority to develop relationships with a lot of these property owners throughout the community. And lastly, marketing these properties to the appropriate brands that you want to attract to the community. And staff has begun pretty aggressively marketing a lot of these properties. Just last month, staff attended an economic development conference in Dallas where we met with over 20 nationally recognized retail and restaurant brands in an effort to advertise some of these premier sites. And I'm happy to say that a lot of those conversations that we were having at the conference are continuing today. And so we've garnered a relationship with some of these brands, and we're now putting them in touch with a lot of these representatives or property owners of these properties, and we hope to see some progress over the next year or two. Some of the additional properties that we've been focusing on other than the Walmart out parcel would be 7500 Baker Boulevard. This is the piece of property that is right in front of the old Sam's Club building. It's in kind of the parking lot area, but it is being advertised and the owner is interested in trying to find either a retail or restaurant establishment occupy this area in the future. Then we've got 6948, 6950, and 6950, I believe, Boulevard 26. That's the middle picture. Those are 3 lots, actually, that can be combined and unified into one larger lot. That's directly south of Wells Fargo, and we believe that is a prime location for a potential restaurant or new retail. The last property that I'll talk about tonight is 2805 Hanley Etterville. This is direct frontage off of Hanley Etterville. It's over 1 acre, and obviously it's right next to a McDonald's and a gas station. And so it's got some proximity to other businesses that we've seen success in the past. There has been some communication with some nationally recognized brands about that property, but they're very preliminary conversations. Additionally, when it comes to economic development, there are other things that we can do to encourage new businesses to be attracted to this community. And one of the ways we're doing that is by prioritizing site beautification or site improvements. And we kind of talked about this briefly a little while ago regarding Roots Cafe. And the two ways that we're doing that is by building improvement grants and by amending or working with our current ordinances to either be more flexible in certain areas or more aggressive in certain areas, whether it be enforcing site improvements or maybe being flexible to allow for buildings to expand or beautify themselves in ways that our code didn't allow for previously. So the first item that I talked about was building improvement grants. This is a program that we have that allows eligible businesses to receive up to a 50% match, not to exceed $5,000, of the total proposed property and building enhancements. And this, of course, is an effort to encourage site improvements, have business retention, as well as the expansion of businesses throughout the city. There are specific enhancements that are eligible for grant consideration, and you can see them all listed right there. This grant has only been active for a little over maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And just last year alone, we did process 5 different grants, 2 for facade improvements and 3 for fencing and screening improvements. And we do plan on just continuing to allow this program to grow, pouring more money into it, and really encouraging more businesses throughout the community to utilize it. The second item that we've really been focusing on is, as I mentioned, updating our ordinances to fit our current needs. Last year, we did amend some of our ordinances because of the following. Roughly over 60% of Richland Hills housing market was built between 1950 and 1979. And so over time, the city has been establishing new zoning districts over the past 50 plus years. And when these new zoning districts are overlaid on top of these older areas, in many cases, these older structures just inherently do not meet these new code requirements or development standards. And when you're in that position, you're in a weird spot because you may not be able to do much with your property because of these newer standards. And so when we recognize this, we recognize that our zoning code was written in a way that limited or even prohibited the ability for many of these older structures in the community to expand or beautify their facades. And so we amended this language to make it easier for older buildings to expand and encourage beautification. And I provided 2 examples on the screen here. There are 2 residences in the community where you can see the Google Street View kind of shows, what the facade of these homes looked like previously. And then with this new special exception process, the building permits they submitted to the community or to the Development Service Department that show what the transformation of some of these facades would look like. We adopted this new language in August of last year, and we've seen 4 cases where this zoning amendment was utilized to improve people's homes. So it's only been a short period of time, and we hope to continue to see these submittals. As for long-range plans, so these are things that are happening today that will be impacting the development or even redevelopment of the city for the next decade or so. The biggest item would be the comprehensive plan. A comprehensive plan is a framework of the community's vision for the future and a strategic map to reach that vision. Comprehensive planning is very often utilized as a tool by cities in order to guide future development or future redevelopment. The city adopted their last comprehensive plan in 2014, and it's pretty common practice to update your comprehensive plan every 10 years or so. So we're right on line, and we're in the process of currently establishing a new comprehensive plan and eventually adopting it. And we are partnering with Half Engineering, who is overseeing the drafting of the updated comprehensive plan document. And this journey began in January of last year. And throughout that entire last year, there was multiple attempts to try to capture the community's vision for the future of Richland Hills. And in an effort to do so, we held 2 community event workshops, and we created an online survey that was accessible to all community members and developers alike. And we utilized those findings as a foundation to develop a framework of what this comprehensive plan was going to be. And so currently, we've got the consultant preparing the first draft of the comprehensive plan. And over the next 3 months, you can expect at least 1 more community event workshop, the drafting of a more formal version of the plan. And once we have a more formal version, we will make it accessible to the public for their own personal review as well as an internal city review. And then once we receive the feedback from not only the public, but city staff, we will have the consultant draft the final version of the plan, and then hopefully we will see adoption by the Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council as the last step of the process. And for anybody who is interested in following the comprehensive plan progress, you can track all this information on the city website under the comprehensive plan updates section. That concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions that anybody has following everybody's presentations. Thank you.
Thank you, JP. And yes, since JP has joined us, there's been quite a concerted effort in making sure that we're actively getting the Richland Hills name out there to attract some of these new retail and restaurant-oriented businesses, or just really any new business in general. So we've seen a great response from that, and I'm hoping that we'll continue to see a lot new businesses call Richland Hills home. So with our last presentation this evening, we are going to invite our Director of Parks and Recreation, Eric Valdez, and our Library Director, Chantel Hancock, up to the podium to talk a little bit about our Parks and Recreation and Library engagement and programs.
Good evening. My name is Eric Valdez, and I have the pleasure of serving as your Parks and Recreation Director. Like JP, I'm new to the city, so I've just started. I've just finished my first 6 months. So I'm still learning your community, your programs, and your services, but I'm eager to be here. I'm going to provide you a quick overview of the Parks and Rec Department and capital projects that are underway. The first slide we want to talk about is our Parks Division. Just some interesting facts. The park maintenance operation team consists of 2 individuals. They maintain your parks. We work with a local mowing contractor to also maintain the park. So if it's graffiti removal, mowing, edging, we've got a guy out there right now fixing park lights. I just heard from the Creek Trail folks that we need to get those addressed. They're on it tonight. And then the other interesting fact is over the last 5 years, the city has committed over $700,000 total to improve park amenities. So when you go visit a park and you see that new playground, that funding comes from the sales tax dollars that JP was just talking about. We've got a couple of park projects that are underway. Kate Baker Park, the renovation is ongoing. We're about 80% complete, and we're just finalizing the installation of a new park restroom. The Rosebud Park renovation has just completed the bid process, and we look to award that bid in mid-March. We're also securing quotes to update the landscaping here in the city complex, so City Hall, this facility, and we're also planning on submitting a green ribbon project to TxDOT. And what that project will do will help us update the city gateways, so the landscaping at the monument signs. In addition to those projects, I don't know if you've heard, but we are in the process of replacing the gym floor. We hope to have that completed by the end of the summer. We're also working to install new park amenities along the trail. So we were scheduled to do that in the fall. One of our park technicians left us, and so we're a little short-handed, but we're aiming to get that done early spring. And finally, one of the things that I'm most eager to see is Sunbelt Pools will be out here in the next month to oversee the repairs to the water feature out front. So I understand that's been down for several years. They started that repair process in the fall. They're about 80% complete. They're going to come finish out that repair, and so that hopefully we're open for the summertime of those kids. Future improvements. So staff is working on providing Wi-Fi, broadband Wi-Fi to the parks, so that if you're out there with the kiddos, grandkids, you have access to hop online to check out the latest news. We're also looking at the expansion of the hike and bike trail, which is to include a trailhead with some parking. And finally, one of the things that we're working on this year is updating the monument signs on the gateways. So we're working on getting some quotes out there to see how we can go about that and the funding behind it. The next is the Recreation Division. So you're sitting here in the Link Recreation Center. On the right-hand side of that slide, you'll see the top 3 revenue streams for this facility. The first one is childcare programs. So if you've got grandkids or kids looking for a place for the summer, we host summer camps and we host after-school programs. And so that's our biggest generator of revenue, about $305,000. Our private events in this facility. So if you've got a wedding or baby shower, some sort of family event gathering, we're able to host you and your family here in this facility. And then the third generator of revenue is our membership at $72,000. So those 3 streams add up to 86% of all the revenue generated in this facility. On the left-hand side, you'll see the update on the revenue by fiscal year. And so you'll see fiscal year 24 was a spike, 22 was a spike, and you think to yourself, well, what did they do in 23? In 22, the spike happened when a local Montessori school had some flood damage, and so they rented out this facility, and that's why you saw that spike in revenue. In 2024, they expanded the after-school and the summer camp program to accommodate more kids, and so that's why you see the $634,000 in revenue. There's 3 pillars to the viability of this facility. Memberships. So raise your hand if you have a membership to the link. All right, not 100%. We can take care of you tonight. Membership, so it's a fitness center, your open gym, indoor playground, and group exercise classes. Rentals, like I just covered, we generated $170,000 out of this facility, and we're looking to increase that with some regional program. We're hosting regional events. Our programs, I just covered that, childcare. One of the things we're looking to expand is our youth programs. And one of the ways we're able to do that is if you fill out your city survey and tell us what kind of programs and services you would like to see in this facility, we will work with the city manager's office to make sure those are come to fruition. Our membership scan. So those of you that have memberships, please scan those at the front desk. On the left there, you'll see our membership scans. So seniors, very, very, very active senior population here. That's the first thing I learned in my first 6 months. So 16,000 seniors scanned their membership cards for the fiscal year of 2024. Adults came in at 4,000 and families came in at almost 4,000. We also host events and tourism events in this facility. So like I said, our rental at $170,000. On the left-hand side here, there was 758 private events. So like I said, weddings, showers, meetings, holiday gatherings happened in this facility. We also hosted 6 special events that are citywide, our Easter egg celebration, our trick and treat, Herencia event, and then on the right-hand side you'll see a FY24 recap. We had $3,300 in cash donations for those events. We have our volunteer program is pretty healthy at 337 volunteer hours. So those, we can't put on a special event without a volunteer providing some assistance. So we are good partners with the local school district and they send out folks. And then in-kind donations at $10,000. Right, here's my contact information. So I plead with you, if you're sitting at home and you'd like to play pickleball, go out for a walk, please contact me. I know the seniors are welcoming here, so they go on trips. Every time I turn around, they're on the bus to go somewhere. So please reach out to me, fill out your citywide survey, and if you've got any ideas on how to improve the programs and services that we offer, please let me know. And with that, I'll turn it over to the library. There you go.
I'm Chantel, I'm the library director. So first, I was just going to go over some of the accomplishments for the library this year. We once again completed all of our requirements for state accreditation through the Texas State Library and Archives Commission. We were one of only 102 libraries in the state to receive our Texas Municipal Achievement of Excellence in Libraries Award. It's a very long award name. Then we also received a $1,000 grant this year for collection development funds, which means we use this money to purchase books and audiobooks, and that was through HEB. one thing that was really great this year is we checked out a total of almost 40,000 items, and that is a 17% increase over 2023. And we also increased our program, like how many people attended programs by 10% over 2023. And our visits to the library increased 15% over 2023. So we are getting busier. And one thing that libraries are always, what we're looking at is, are we back to those pre-COVID numbers? And we're getting very, very close to being as busy as we were in 2019, which is great to see. So some of the programs that we host that keep us busy are the AARP tax prep that's going on right now. There are still a few appointments available if you need to have your taxes done. They do those for free at the library. Of course, Summer Reading Club, our Haunted Stacks program where we turn the whole library into a haunted house. Our Richland Hills Literary Club has gotten very popular. Our Tea Tasters Club, and then Teddy Bear Social is for the youngest kids. We also host teen art nights. We have the Trail Tale, which is a cooperative program with the Parks and Rec Department. We received a grant a couple years ago to install those on the hike and bike trail. We have adult craft nights, STEAM programming, that's like science-based programs. Our senior social time, craft nights, and Pause to Read has been extremely popular. Last year we did we certified a therapy dog to be at the library, and she is available to read with anyone really. It doesn't have to only be children. She attends senior programs. She goes to help out with the police department, and she just kind of is available. Right now she's our comfort dog for taxes. If you are getting your taxes done and feeling stressed about it. Oh yes, and it's her birthday today. She just turned 10. So for future department goals, just continue to maintain that state accreditation and Library of Excellence status. Currently continuing to plan to expand current programs, and also like Eric was saying, when you're filling out your citizen survey, if there are library programs that you would like to see that you're not currently seeing, just please let us know. Working with the schools and staff development, and then increasing our interdepartmental cooperation is something that we always like to do as well. So, and this is my contact information, and I will be around for questions. And then, moving on to our 75th anniversary. So, many of y'all may know or may not know that this is the 75th anniversary of the City of Richland Hills. So this year we are taking time to shine a light on the history, community, and people of Richland Hills, and inspiring our residents to participate, engage, and celebrate our history and community. So these are the committee members who are Richland Hills residents who have been working on these programs for the last year to make this year special. And I wanted to take time to recognize them. Several of them are here tonight. The committee came up with a theme for our anniversary celebration, and that is rich in, because we feel like our community is rich in many things. The 75th anniversary booth out in the hallway, we have an activity tonight if you'd like to participate. There's some papers that you can take time to write on there what you think Richland Hills is rich in, and we're just posting those on a poster board out there. Some of the things that the committee came up with is that we are rich in agriculture, history, community, culture, and art. we are selling items to help offset some of the cost of the celebrations and programs that we're doing. Tonight, we're doing a special that if you have been a resident for longer than 40 years, you can get a free resident yard sign. Because we would really like to start seeing a lot more of those around the city. So if you have lived in the city for longer than 40 years and you do not have a yard sign, please stop by out there and let the people at the booth know that you need to pick up your free sign. If you have only lived here 39 years or less, you can purchase one for $10. And we are running low on the numbers for customizing those signs, so we may need to get the numbers to you later, unfortunately, but you can still pick up your sign tonight. We are going to have street signs for sale as well, and we also have some commemorative little ornaments you can use for your Christmas tree or just to hang up. And all those can be purchased anytime at the Link front desk. So some of our upcoming events that we're very excited about is a Rich in History City Bike Tour with Mayor Bergfold and Councilman Eastep on March 14th. Their registration is going on right now for this. There's a QR code on the poster out in the hallway that you can scan if you'd like to sign up for this. The bike tour will go around the city with a few different stops, and at each stop there'll be water and also someone there to talk to you about some different Richland Hills history items that you'll see on your bike tour. A citywide scavenger hunt will take place the week of spring break. That will be with an app with a QR code and different clues to send you all over the city while you learn a little bit about city history, as well as seeing the different sites in Richland Hills. We will have a plant and seed share on April 25th at the library. And then the next day we'll have our Coop Barn and Garden Tour. Currently we are taking, I don't know if nominations is the right word, but if you have a chicken coop, if you have a really nice garden, if you've got, goats or a baby cow, and you would like to have your property be considered for being on the tour, we are going to be finalizing those homes and getting that list out. And then if you want to go look at other people's chicken coops, on the day, on April 26th, there'll be maps available and you'll just drive around and get out of your car and go look in their backyard. And then our next big event after that is another Rich in History one at the Birdville Cemetery. It will be open. It is not normally open to the public. It will be open, and we will have a tour and a tour guide who will talk about many of the streets that you may live on. The reason they're named what they are is because these people are in the Birdville Cemetery. So that's what that is. And then we're still in the planning process for our final celebration. It's going to be Saturday, September 27th. It will have a 1950s theme since Richland Hills was founded in the 50s. And Michael Hicks and the Classics will be performing, and we're still in the planning stages of scheduling. There's probably going to be a car show, carnival rides for kids, those kind of things. Anyway, thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Chantel and Eric. I just want to brag on this leadership team for a minute, because we don't tell the story enough, but this community and our residents are really blessed by the professional individuals that work in these city services. Your departments, the services we provide are recognized around the state and the nation. Some of them are top performing programs. Both our police department, our city secretary's office, they've achieved accreditation and achievement awards. The libraries excellence award, only 19% of libraries in the state of Texas have achieved that. The fire department, having an ISO rating of 2, puts them in the very top of fire departments throughout the state. There are very few that have 1s and few that have 2s, and so that means we're offering a very excellent level of service in our fire and EMT services. Our link has continually exceeded their cost recovery goals over the last several years, just showing what a valuable addition to the community this facility has been. And I could go on and on about all the wonderful things, but we really are working to provide the highest level of services to this community, and our departments and our employees are recognized for their efforts. So I just want to give all of them a round of applause. Because they work very, very hard to make sure that we're getting the quality of life that you